Hello, I'm Paige. I am a person on a journey from going from running 5Ks to running 50Ks with nothing in between. My first 50K is in a couple months, so I'm really nervous and excited for that. And this is going to be a little series I'm calling Couch to 5K, where I'm just going to document and just give tips on how to go from sedentary to running ultramarathons. So that's the goal right now, and that being the goal, the question today we're going to try to answer is, how do you even start? That's a huge task. Ultramarathons are huge endurance races that require hours and hours of training. It requires being at peak physical fitness. It requires proper nutrition. So where do you start training? You just don't do cardio, either you're a bodybuilder, lifter, or you're just completely sedentary. You don't exercise. And you just want to start. Let me tell you, just starting. So yeah, just start. My recommendation would be running short intervals. It doesn't even have to be crazy. Just 30 seconds running, a minute walking, and just repeat that. And slowly increase the amount of time you're running and reduce the amount of time you're walking. And keep in mind, ultramarathons aren't like other shorter races, like 5Ks. You can easily run the race as fast as you can. You can go full throttle because it's only 3.1 miles. But a 50K is 32, so you can't go full throttle the entire time. You're not going to make it. So it's a very different style of running. It is it's more of a slow burn instead of a firework, you know what I mean? So don't focus on speed, focus on how long you can go for. And I recommend just start running, seeing if you even like running. Because you might hate running, and if you hate running, don't go for an ultramarathon, because ultramarathons are just running. So yeah, that's my first tip. And then another thing you can do is, if you want to see if you like running races but aren't sure, try a shorter race. Train up for that and go for a shorter race. A 5K is a great race. I've talked about it before. It is short, sweet, but it can tailor to the more advanced runner if you are in that boat. Or a 10K. 10K is twice a 5K at 6.2 miles. So that would also be a good race to start with. I'm skipping the 10K because I think it's hilarious rocking up to a 50K only ever having to run a 5K race before. But I recommend running shorter races and just seeing if it's something you like. And you can, after you run those first couple races and you enjoy it, you can build your way up to a 50K. You don't even have to start with necessarily a 50K as your first ultramarathon. They do have timed ultras where you just complete as many loops as you can within a given time frame, which is a lot more forgiving than a 50K. But you can try shorter, more manageable races to get up there. And when you're training for these, one thing that is kind of a proof of concept, just to push yourself and see where you go, is set a distance. Say, I want to go 10 miles on foot. I've never done that before. Just try to do it, and don't fret if you can't go 10 miles running. I still can't do 10 miles straight running. I walk periods during my long runs. It is completely normal to need to walk. But the point is, you went 10 miles on foot. Work your way up to those goals and see where you're at. Or set a period of time. I'm going to be on foot, moving around, trying to run as much as possible for 3 hours. Give yourself chunks of time dedicated to training and work your way up small. Don't go for a 3-hour run from the beginning. My friend did that. He wanted to go on a run with me, so we did like a 2.5-3 hour run, and he was feeling it the next day. So work your way up. Start off small, work your way up. Maybe start with a mile. Go try to run a mile for the first time, and then maybe after a couple weeks of running a mile, you go to try to do 2 miles. You got to start off small and work your way up. It's important to keep in mind that training for an ultramarathon isn't a fast experience. It is slow going. It takes time. Expect to be ready in a year to 2 years time with training. For me, it'll be about a year and a half of running for me to be ready for this ultramarathon. So it's a slow burn. Be prepared to put in the hours, and it's a long game. So, one thing that I need to cover if you're going to start ultra running and you want to try running a 50K, I can't say this about all 50Ks, but at least most of the ones in my areas are at least partially on trails. And trail running is a whole different animal than running on the treadmill or running on the roads. There's a lot of stumbling hazards. You have to look at the ground and manage it. You have to learn how to handle steep uphills and downhills. And trust me, I've been trail running for months. I fell last night. Big scrape down my shin. It happens. You have to be prepared to handle any situation. You have to be prepared to handle mud and bugs, depending on what time of year you're running in. And you gotta like trail running. If you don't like trail running, you're not gonna like ultra marathons. I'd recommend just regular marathons in that case. But try running on a trail. I think it's a lot more fun and a lot more energetic than running on foot or on roads, or definitely a lot more interesting than a treadmill. But it's a lot more difficult. So that's my advice, is to try to trail run. And as I mentioned before, be prepared for slow progress. I have been making progress over the course of a year and a half. I started April 2024. It's July 2025 as I'm recording this. And when I first started, I could barely run a 5K. And it didn't happen until September, where I wasn't able to run a 10K. I ran a 10K for the first time. It was just on the roads in my neighborhood. It wasn't an official race. Quote I'm only running 5Ks until I run the 50K. Weird goal, but yeah. And that was brutal. And slowly, after I broke that 10K mark, I week after week, started inching up my mileage. And I can easily run 30 to 50 miles a week, depending on how much free time I have. So that wasn't done overnight. It took months of training and slowly increasing the distance and speed. Because like I said, I wasn't running fast. I was running long. So you have to be prepared for slow progress. And there's going to be a point in your training where you're going to have to do a week on of training and then a week off of rest. I did that, and it's gotten to the point where I don't need to do that anymore. Just a rest day I do 2 rest days a week where I don't do anything to prevent my body from absolutely dying on me. But be prepared for slow, incremental progress. Start off just being able to run a minute. If you can't run at all, go for being able to run a minute. Then 2 minutes, and then see if you can run a mile, and just go for small progress, and don't expect to be an elite athlete overnight. This stuff takes time, this stuff takes patience, it takes a lot of hard work. But let me tell you, it is so worth the hard work. My confidence has gone up, my energy has gone up, I'm sleeping better, the benefits are incredible, and that is another video for another day. But the slow progress, just be prepared. It's worth it. And if you really love the sport and you really love running, it doesn't feel like hard work. It just feels like doing what you enjoy. So, with that being said, hopefully these little tips will help you start your little or big ultra marathon journey. I personally am really excited to see what ultra running races are like. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about them. I read a lot of articles, but I've never run one myself, so I'm really excited to get to that 50K and just see what it's like. I've run long distances on trails, but I've never run an official race with other people on trails, so I'm really excited for that. And I'm planning on doing a lot more videos in this series, everything from nutrition to rest to cross training. Everything I've done thus far to get to this point, I will be documenting in this series. Now keep in mind, I am not a personal trainer. I probably should have put that in the beginning of the video, but I'm not. Maybe someday. That's not off the table. But for now, I'm just going to document my journey and what I've done and how I've made the progress. And I will document race day, at least a little. Either in the form of shorts. I'm not going to go buck wild with that one, but, I'm rambling. So, if you've managed to make it this far into the video and found any of these tips useful or motivational, please let me know. I love hearing positivity in the comments. Or if you have another fitness goal and you're just looking for tips on how to get started with any kind of physical fitness, let me know. I love hearing people's stories, and everyone's on a different path. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. It would really help the channel out. And hopefully I'll catch you in the next one for some more Couch to 50K or maybe a rant or two in the future. So, have a good one.